have to look carefully at the list again to see where it was prioritized. I think it was a priority 3, but if we did that, then we would reap the benefit of not having to lease the offices on Knollwood, I presume. And so that's, that would make it more amenable to a 30-year mortgage kind of arrangement, as opposed to saying, oh gosh, $3 million, where the heck are we ever going to come up with that money? So trying to identify the operational impacts of these things, as well as the things that are single investments, I think would be helpful.
True, and very, very good point. Also, I forgot to mention too, at the very top of the list and under the fire department there, you see 4 items, and Pam had mentioned to us that Chief Hollingsworth was in the process of working on some grants and working towards getting some of the things taken care of in this list too. Is the reason that wasn't discussed. So there's some other little ongoing things underneath that will be adding some, hopefully, grant money to take care of some of the things on the list.
We have to be a little careful of that too, though, because we had a safer grant that funded a 4th individual on fire trucks for, I think it was 3 years or something like that. And then the grant funding came to a halt, and then we had to cut back because we didn't have the ongoing funding. So having a grant to address something that is actually a long-term operational issue may not, it may be a good way to get started, but we need to identify then what's the source of funding to pick up once the grant funds are expended.
It's an excellent point, because that's exactly what happened the first time.
Right.
Chief Hollingworth, I'm sure would keep us up to date on this as to where he's at with it and what his thoughts are. And, that's something that we can work through, but that's something that we do want to keep in mind as well.
Yeah, that grant that they're applying for is the same grant. It's the 3-year, the same grant as they had before.
Right.
Temporary grant. So it would be the same situation. I had a question about going back to priorities, to even maybe narrow this further or to focus it further. I was wondering if it's possible for the department heads who submitted this list to be asked, is there anything in their current spending, in their current budget, that if they did not get the money or they did not get any extra revenue for these priority 1 items, that they could cut to fund the priority items? Basically, what are these items basically more urgent, in other words, than some of the things they're already doing? In other words, to make it, to get down to the really, really crucial things that they would, they would do even at the expense of cutting other things. I'm kind of curious. I think over in the property and facilities area, I do think there may be some, I don't know if there's anything that could be trimmed to, say, produce more money for, homeless encampment abatement, things like that. But it's an interesting question to ask. And I don't know if that's been asked yet or if it could be asked. That's probably a question for Pam.
So we do ask them not during the budget process, but if you asked that question to each of them, I'm pretty certain they're going to say their budgets are as lean as they can possibly be. And there's nowhere, to have any savings at all. As you can see from the facilities and resources budget, we basically needed $70,000 to fund encampments and storm damage cleanup, and we can scrape together $8,000. So there's not a lot of extra being budgeted over and above what is really needed
Mhm.
in those groups. The fire department is the same way. We've pretty much sliced and diced their budget over the years, so it's pretty lean. There's not a lot of fluff and cushion in there for, you know, unplanned things to happen.
Can I comment on something, please?
Please, yes, Cheryl.
Dwayne started out with lots and merging lots with property owners. Those lots, as I recall, are given to the district, and I don't see how you could sell them. I don't know how many property owners would even be interested in merging with their property, any lot.
Well,
So,
that's true, Cheryl. That, like I say, this was just a step in that direction. There's a lot of details that we would have to look at
sure.
as to, you know, all of these issues. It's just step one in identifying an area that could go further. We won't know till we get into the weeds, so to speak.
Right, and I have been an advocate on that Van Gordon Creek property to level it and get rid of that water meter to sell that. So there are other avenues to consider too.
Of course.
So,
Yeah.
thank you.
The on the lots, I assume all or most or all of these vacant lots are under a conservancy restriction, they're an easement. So if people buy them, it's simply to have additional land
Correct.
kept in its more or less natural state. You can do
They could not be built on.
right, cannot be built on. It's a matter of just getting getting more space around.
Depends on who's taking care of them, whether it's us or the property owners next to it. Yeah. It was just a thought.
Mhm.
And like I say, there's a lot that we need to gain as far as information going in both directions as to whether we can sell them, how much do we want to even sell them for. Probably if we want to go down this road, we're not going to want to sell them for very much, because if it's going to be a win-win for both areas, the person that buys this is just going to be taking care of it basically on their dime instead of the district's dime. They're not ever going to be able to build on it or do anything. It's got to be just maintained property. Plant trees when trees die, but also they're going to be at the expense of taking trees out when trees need to be taken down and out also.
Yeah. And I have talked to people who want to do that. I mean,
They do.
And I can kind of see why in a way, because it's nice to have that, in your yard basically is bigger, and it can be
It's a swimming pool.
you could probably put in like light like trails, benches, and little.
I'm joking.
But I know, but you can't put a structure in a swimming pool. Of course, that's another subject. But any other questions? I know we have John Weigold here, General Manager Weigold. We're getting a lot of attention. If he wants to add anything, I'd be welcome to have him comment too. I do think we need to come out of this with a little bit of a tight focus on. Yeah, excuse me, Osana.
I do have a Crosby and Laura.
Okay, so I want to wind up the questions, and then are there any more questions of Dwayne or Pamela, Pam or Carlos? So with questions over, I will invite public comment. And Osana?
Okay, Crosby and Laura Swartz, go ahead.
Yes, good morning, committee. This is Laura Swartz. And hey, I just wanted to make a comment here. We might be amateurs in a lot of area, but we're quite familiar with the lots. Okay, we've gone through this many times, and before you spend a lot more time on it, the San Luis Obispo Conservancy has given these lots with a memorandum of understanding to the CCSD. They cannot be sold individually. We have gone through this many times. Carlos can concur with us because there were some lots that he dealt with and found that out for sure. You cannot sell them individually. The only way that those lots could be sold is in a group to another conservation group. In a whole. You can't sell them off individually. I know this sounds good, but you cannot do it. They will uphold this many times. We've been saying that the lots are part of the TDC program that people have been able to build larger homes with, and it's all connected. And please don't spend more time on that because it's just a non-starter. With all due respect, thank you, guys.
Thank you. Any other comments? Osana?
Nope, no
Okay.
comments.
I would, I can open this discussion now as to where we want to go from here. Any members of the committee want to weigh in further forward action?
Might make one clarification there. I was just using that as an example as to the list and what we could find as far as mitigating some of the expenses on that. Like I say, we had not even looked into doing anything in any area or making a recommendation to even this committee. Like I say, we were just brainstorming, so to speak. So we were a long way off from actually putting these lots out for sale. I don't want people to get the wrong impression on that. That was just an example of, you know, what the ad hoc committee could do as far as maybe trying to find some resources to take care of some of these priority items.
Yeah, thank you. I think maybe what we're trying to do today is to give further, direction going forward to the ad hoc committee as to where to proceed from here, because they have a list now of items that were identified as top priority items by the department heads. There's some tentative ideas about some that might be amenable to, some solution. So we need to kind of give them a kind of marching orders for here, going forward into this much more complicated task of figuring out how to pay for some of these things. So I invite discussion on that. I mean, or discussion or a motion. Where do we go from here? Pamela.
So we also need direction as staff for what you want to take to the board to show them that this task has been completed. I think we also need to know that today as well.
Okay. Thank you. Any discussion? Ted?
Well, I guess I'll make a motion then.
Okay.
I move that the list be amended to separate one-time investment from operational expenses, and in that form be presented to the board as the evidence of completion of task number 1.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
I think Mary had her hand up first, so seconded by Mary Maher. It's been moved by Vice Chair Siegler and seconded by Member Maher that we submit the list of priorities as developed by the ad hoc committee to the board with our recommendation, with the additional addition of a breakout between operational items and, correct me if I'm wrong, one-time capital items? As
It may not all be capital.
Just an
One-time.
investment, because
One-time.
capital is
Okay.
different in enterprise than it is in government funds, and so
Yeah.
One-time, yeah, investment items,
Mhm.
and submit that to the board as the committee's recommendation.
So would you like the current columns to the right replaced with the 2 columns of one time and ongoing?
Well, if I were doing it, I would just add two more columns to what's
Just to
already
the
there.
right, okay. What's a one time?
Can you bring the,
It's just gonna get really small.
Well, formatting is, then you, I don't want to over constrain my motion by suggesting the format entirely. Pam, you will be able to do something that's artful and informative, I'm sure.
Maybe abbreviate, do some abbreviations in that third column,
Yeah,
stuff
I
like that.
might.
Yeah,
And
get
I
it.
can abbreviate F and R in the
Yep.
department column.
So the general gist of the motion is that we add a category for ongoing versus ongoing and investment, and otherwise keep it the same. So are we ready? I guess we're ready. Osana, do you have a or is it Mary?
Mary,
Mary.
Yeah, do you have that down?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'll call for a vote by hand. And Cheryl?
not
Okay.
in agreement, so.
Cheryl, well, there's three ayes. How does Cheryl vote? Abstain or
No.
nay? No.
Okay.
3 ayes, 1 no, 1 absent. Okay, thank you. Good job. The committee, this is one of the more complicated jobs I think an ad hoc committee, a subcommittee has had, because it's very intimidating and large, and hopefully we will we're not making any taking any action today, I guess, unless I don't think it's on the agenda to continue the committee, but I think somebody should correct me if I'm wrong. The committee is still has been formed for the dual purpose of identifying and then suggesting solutions. So I think their work should continue. So I don't know if that's anything that takes a formal action by this committee or not, but I think they're doing a very good job. Any further? Yes, Osana.
John has his hand up. Go ahead, John.
John. Oh,
Hi, committee, it's John Weigel. Yeah, thanks so much to the ad hoc on this. This was really great work, and Ted's suggestion was spot on. To break it out further, I think we do need to identify the who for the next task for the strategic plan to carry on look at potential solutions next. So I don't know. I can't remember if that's on the agenda or not. It's been a car, but we do need that as a next step to consider here.
okay. Well, let's see. I don't know what the on the actual agenda.
it's not on the agenda, yeah.
It's not actually on the agenda to do that. So, I'm kind of hesitant to, we have to make it a future agenda item, I guess, to, at the next meeting of the finance committee, to have them, basically this subcommittee be reassigned to this new task. I don't want to lose too much time, but it seems to be what we have to do for proper procedure.
Well, if you look at the minutes from when we formed that committee,
Yeah.
because maybe that was part of the minutes. Let me see real quick.
Yeah.
We did that in February,
Mm-hmm.
do you think?
It would have been.
We
I don't-
formed the committee in February,
Yes.
so it would have been in the March minutes.
Let me grab them.
Are we racing?
Hmm?
So,
Okay, 6-month objectives.
uh,
Well, actually.
it looks like it was both.
Looks like they're I mean, I'm looking at the
Yeah.
regular. Yeah, it looks like they're
Yeah, it looks like we did both,
We
Yeah.
did both.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because
we
we
did.
even talked
So-
about whether to do one or two, and then it looks like we said do both objective.
Right. So, yeah, thank you for refreshing my memory. So the committee I mean, it doesn't take any action at this point. Committee should continue to meet and we move forward to try to find funding or other ways of meeting these needs.
Yeah, it specifically says in the minutes, committee member Mayor moved to form one ad hoc committee to work on both objectives. Committee member Siegler seconded the motion. 5-0 vote.
Okay, great.
So there we go.
Okay, good.
We're good to go.
Thank you. Thank you, Pam, for finding that and reminding me of it. Okay, so we can move on. So the committee continue with your work. We can move on to item 3C. 3C is and 3D are quite similar, but we'll take them one at a time. Pam, we might introduce 3C first.
Sure. So
Yeah.
item 3C is discussion and consideration to approve the budget policy revisions. So as you're aware, the board voted to change the name of the SWF to the WRF. And in that change, staff was directed to identify documents and policies, procedures, things that contained that language that needed to be changed. So there's 2 documents that the Finance Committee previously created or updated and have taken to the board. So, and that's the budget policy and the reserve policy. So instead of just quickly updating those and taking those to the board, to just change that nomenclature for the SWF to the WRF, I thought the committee might want to take an opportunity to look at the policies and determine if there's anything else that they want changed. If you don't, that's completely fine. I just wanted to give you the opportunity to weigh in on the policies. If we're taking them to the board to amend them, we might as well change anything else that we want changed at the same time. So that is the reason why 3C and 3D are on your agenda today.
Thank you. Any questions from the board regarding, first of all, 3C, which is the budget policy revision? Mr. Siegler.
Okay, well, again, this is a comment rather than a question, but we just did update the budget policy, I think, to reflect current practices. And so I don't see any reason why we would want to reopen that for anything other than the wording changes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was revised on December 10th of last year. So yeah, it's correct. So
So I move to approve it.
it's been moved
Can I
to
do that?
approve the staff recommendation for the change in the budget policy. Do I hear a second? Seconded by Member McDowell. Show of hands. 4 ayes, no nays, and 1 absent. The motion passes. Continuing to item 3D, Ms. Duffield.
This is the same situation. 3D is discuss and consideration to approve the reserve policy revision. So this is the same scenario. The board adopted the name change from SWF to WRF. So this policy was updated not so recently, back in August of 2019. So again, wanted to bring this in front of you to see if there's any additional revisions that you may want to suggest before it goes to the board.
Any questions for Ms. Duffield? Do I hear a motion? Oh, first of all, public comment. Any public
No
comment?
comment.
I'm sorry about that, yes. Missed it on the other one too. Mr. Ziegler,
Okay, I move that we adopt the changes as marked in the submission by staff.
it's been moved. Okay, second. Dwayne Lee, seconds. It's been moved by Vice Chair Ziegler and seconded by Member Lee that we adopt the staff recommendation for the changes in the reserve policy. Show of hands. 4 ayes, no nays, 1 absent. The motion passes. Item 3E is an update on the audit, the fiscal year 19-20 audit, the new one.
Money audit, the new one.
Yes.
So I received confirmation on Monday this week from the external auditors, Moss, Levy, Hartheim, that they will be here on site starting next Monday through next Wednesday to start the field audit portion of the audit. So I've been working hard outside of the Tyler implementation to get ready for this. So I will be ready come Monday when they show up on site. So we will follow, they will be on site like they were back last July, still under the COVID precautions. We still maintain all that social distancing and mask and temperature checking. So we will have them on site all week next week and get started on the audit.
Thank you, Pam.
Right.
Any questions?
Yay. One day we're going to get caught up.
Yeah. Well,
We're getting there.
it's
We're
moving along.
close.
It's moving faster.
Yeah.
So that's good. I don't know if any action is necessary on this one, unless somebody has any.
Yeah, it was just a report out.
It's just a informational item. So move on to item 3F, which is again another informational report. Ms. Duffield.
Yes. So Tyler Encode, we are live with Tyler Encode. We processed our first vendor payment out of Tyler Encode the week of April 5th.
Mm-hmm.
And then the following week of April 12th, we performed our first payroll process out of Tyler. So we are in process right now of doing our second payroll in the new system, independently of our trainer. So that's quite a change in our practice, quite an adventure. So we're moving forward with that. This last week, we spent the whole week configuring for utility billing go live. So that will be happening the week of May 10th. We'll be transitioning to the new software and actually printing the bills from the new software. Along with that, we're also going to be switching bill printers. So we have a lot of changes happening in the utility billing world. When you get your next bill, provided all the stars align and we can use the new printer this first go round, you will see a difference in the external envelope that you receive your bill in, as well as the return envelope that you mail it back to CCSD in. So you will see some changes in there, along with your bill looking a little bit different than you're used to seeing it. So hopefully people like the bill format a little bit better. You will gain a little graph that's going to show your usage over the past year, which is something that your current bill doesn't have. So that's, a change that a lot of people might like. Coming down the road in the future, there will be the ability to have a bill emailed to you If you don't want a paper copy, or both, if you still want your paper copy mailed, but you also would like it emailed, that will be something that will be rolling out in the new system. So that'll be convenient for a lot of people that maybe don't live here, and or because of COVID, they haven't been able to return to the property that they get mail at. So that's definitely something that'll be rolling out in the future. We just can't roll it out at this time because we can't handle that volume of people calling us or emailing us right now when we're trying to go live with the new system. So we'll kind of roll it out little by little,
Okay.
as we can accommodate, all these people that might want to, change that and add that to their billing account. Because, a lot of accounts we don't have an email address for. So that would have to be some communication that would have to come back to us at the district to get that added.
Mhm.
So we'll be working on that soon.
On the bills, it's the next round of bills that come out next month, the term SWF, the abbreviation SWF will still be on those bills, right?
That's correct.
And
Yeah,
and so it becomes a WRF in the July bill.
correct,
Okay.
correct.
People should-
The one you'll get in the new fiscal year.
I had a question, just a bill question. This is maybe nothing to address today, obviously, because it's not directly related to the Tyler Code, but the terminology I noticed on the two parts of the bill, one the SWF part of the bill and the water part of the bill. Term consumption charge is used on one of them, or I think the sewer part, and usage charge is used for the same, referring to the same thing on the SWF bill. And I think some people actually, I've heard this, some people are confused that they think the usage means operations or something like that, rather than their own consumption of water. So I was wondering if it'd be possible to use the word consumption charge, for both those categories.
I have to look and see what the nomenclature is on the Tyler bill.
Yeah.
I
So-
know that currently you see a base charge and you see a use charge for water and for SWF, but for wastewater, you only see one combined total.
Well, I'm thinking of the water charges, there's two water categories. And
Yeah, I'll have to look and see what the nomenclature is.
consumption
Yeah.
on the other, yeah.
But in the new bill, you'll see base and use, or whatever the terminology is, for all three components. So wastewater won't be rolled together any longer. You'll see them separated. And you'll also see an indication on the bill if you have a low income discount that's been applied. Currently, our bills, you cannot see that. You just have to do the math to see that we've applied the 40% discount to the base fees and to the first 12 units of use. So you will see the LI reference on the bill if you are receiving the low income discount, which will be helpful for a lot of people when they review the bill.
I've had questions about that too. Thank you, Pam. Any public comment, Osana? Okay. Any further questions?
John has his hand up, actually.
John? Okay. General Manager Weigel.
Go ahead, John.
Yes, thank you very much. So I didn't want to let this topic go by without mentioning the extraordinary efforts of our finance manager, Pam Duffield, because what most people think of going live, somebody just flips a switch and everything magically comes on. This Tyler install has been planned for several years, as you know, but really only in the past year has the heavy lifting started. And that includes the planning and how to transition, which Tyler has done a great job. They've done this many times over, and they walk you through so you don't forget something. But think about installing any new system. For us, we have to maintain our old system. We have to maintain ongoing operations. We have to install the new system. We have to train in the new system. Then we have to operate on both the old and the new system simultaneously. And then once we verify all the information in the old system is the same in the new system. Then we make the jump over. That all happens at the same time and over several months really. And Pam's not on a 8 to 9 hour day right now. I would say she's probably somewhere to 12 to 13 hours a day for the last several weeks alone, if not the last month or two. So I just wanted to point out, we've got an extraordinary manager on our team that's made this thing look really simple, and it's not. And I just wanted to let the board advise some of that. Thanks.
Oh, thank you. I second that. Because I have had a little bit of exposure to the process on these the biweekly meetings with Tyler Encode, just how complicated it is and how much is involved. And just the transfer of information is an enormous task from one system to the other, because there's so much data which is on one platform. It's just, you don't just just shift it. So it's incredible work, and I thank Pam for that. It's a great job. Mary?
Can I just add, because in a former life, that's what I did, was systems implementation. And it is really good when you don't hear about it, because that says it's working well.
Yeah.
But it's extremely complex, and hats off to you, Pam. It's a big accomplishment.
Thank you.
Well, I think if there's no further, and this is just an informational item, but we're at the close of our agenda. If there's any future agenda items from staff or suggestions from members, this is the time for them. Any future agenda items what you want to bring forward. I think Cheryl first. Cheryl has one.
I've been relentless about this, is opening it up to the public. So when we get into another phase, what is the criteria for going forward in a public forum? So transparency and all that. So what is the Tom?
We have, I don't know, I don't want to open up too much of a discussion here, but General Manager Weigold is here. Maybe briefly, because we've discussed this a little bit. Is that something?
Is the question about in-person meetings?
Yes.
This is a public meeting, just to be
I'm
clear.
talking about meeting
As
in
opposed to
person.
Zoom meetings.
In person.
Is it possible, without breaking the rules here too much, just to get a brief explanation about what the criteria are, because there are criteria for this that have to be met.
Yeah, this all falls to county public health rules and implementation, and we're part of the 19% of California or 17% that's still in the red right now. So it's going to be a while yet, in my view.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, it is the county. It's county public health that makes the rules on these things, and so we have to. Maybe we'll be in orange pretty soon. I don't know, but it's like these things are a little out of our hands. Ted, you had your hand raised too.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, Pam hasn't gotten done with everything that's big and important and time consuming. We have the budget coming up, and next month is May. And so I think for a future agenda item, we do need to have the, some preliminary budget information.
Now, when you say preliminary budget information, I think we'll be on the agenda.
Right.
We'll be on the agenda,
Correct.
but preliminary budget information, meaning anything more than what will be on the agenda, because the proposed budget will be on the agenda, right, Pam?
Correct.
Right.
Okay. Well,
More than that.
didn't see it listed as a future agenda item yet, so I thought I'd bring that up.
Thank you. Well, it's in the timetable. The budget policy timetable does have it there, so that's good. We're on track for that. So thank you. Anything else? Well, it's 11:34. Meeting is hereby adjourned. Thank you all for your hard work and your intelligent and questions and everything. And I hope we can continue what we're doing constructively. Thank you all.
Thanks.
Thank
Have a good
you.
one.
Have a good day.
Have a good
Hi,
day.
Pam.
Bye.
Get some rest.
Yeah.
Can you see my bags?